What is up, guys? Hey, for everybody that's watched a little bit, you see I'm back inside the house. I'm literally about to, I think, hand dig a trench so I can run direct internet to the shop. It has frustrated me for the last time. I have a great guest, and it looks like an extra guest in the back room here waiting. We're going to talk. We're staying on the Rocky Mountain Race Week, whole setup. And with that, I want folks that have done race week, multiple race weeks, really, and have some great stories. And I know this dude does. If you don't follow Family Man Racing, there's something wrong with you. I'm going to write it out here in the comments. I know he has a YouTube channel, and I don't know what he is on Instagram, but I think he's got an Instagram there too. Let's get into it. Mr. Eric Englert, how are you, sir?
Good. How are you? Can you hear us good?
Yep. You are good to go there. And your son, Micah. There you go. Awesome. All right. So the cool thing about this is I'm having Carrie Watson on in a couple weeks.
Perfect.
And, her daughter went with her. There we go. There we get everybody in better. And so Micah's been on at least one, but I think 2 race weeks with you.
3 now. No, 3? Yeah.
Dang.
Not 2.0, first year, second year, this year.
Oh, yeah. He's 3.
That's awesome. So you're like a vet, dude. You've been on 3 times as many as I have. That's awesome. So I sent some questions over the other day, and really kind of the reason we're doing this is I want to have, I don't know, I want to hear the cool stories that you guys have done, the roadside repairs, the late night hotel parking lot fixes, and then definitely go through all of the road food and all that kind of stuff. So let's get cracking. So what was Eric, what was the first year for you to do race week?
It would have been 2019. So I think I had basically just started finishing the LS swap. That would have probably been, so I finished that in 2018 and worked out the bugs. And then 2019, decided to do Rocky Mountain.
Nice. So had you done drag week stuff before, drag and drive events?
No. So previously I had an all-wheel drive auto in the car, and with the weight that I was carrying, I did a lot of street driving and then some drag racing, but it just the reliability wasn't there if you're really going to crank on it for me, even though I had like good parts in it, but it would always be something, and I'd be pulling the trans out. So what drove me to the LS in the first place, which I know we'll get into, but is I wanted a power glide in the car. And so I wanted something simple, reliable, anybody could fix. And so I got a power glide in the car, and then I followed all like the drag week coverage and everything. And so I was really looking into drag week. And that's one of the reasons I was thinking, hey, power glide, now I can do something like that. And the drag week, really big event. And then I heard about Rocky Mountain. I can't even remember where I first heard about it, if it was Facebook or YouTube or whatever. And I was like, holy crap, this is perfect. Not only do I get to go race my car, but I get to drive it through the Rockies. I'm like, yes, I'm in.
Yep. That's awesome. All right. So Micah, when was the first one for you?
My first one I went to was 2019. I rode along with him, but the first one I've driven a car was this year.
Oh, you rode week this year, didn't you?
Yeah.
Nice.
And he had to put that in right away in his first answer. He's like, I did road week.
Yes, that is cool. But you did, like, it wasn't in something not cool. It's in a 3000 GT2, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Is it 4G swapped? I can't remember on it.
Yeah, it's 4G.
Nice. So I'm sure you two guys cruising around draw some attention.
Well, he cruised around. I broke my car the first day, so he got some attention. So he was cruising around with the Mid America Customs guys, Mac TV, and then Anthony with the rusted S10. So Yeah, he was cruising around the race cars, and I was in my tow rig. So
Now, Dad, why didn't you just
happened.
jump in with him?
Well, because he had this plan. He was more excited about this than me this year. I was scrambling to get my car together and couldn't get parts, and you know the story with the supply chain this year. So so I was, you know, really scrambling to get a car that I thought would work. And but part of the reason I wanted to is because he was super excited. He brought a buddy with him, and we live in Indiana. They drove his car from Indiana to Kansas to start, and then he did all of road week, and then drove it back, no issues. And then my youngest boy, Marcus, intended to ride with me in the 3000, but rode with me in the truck.
Nice. So then we're going to pivot a little bit. Let's talk to Micah for a little bit and tell us some road stories, dude. Like you and a buddy. How old are you?
I'm 17.
Okay. Was your buddy 17, 18 too?
He's 19, I think.
Nice. Okay. So two young guys out on the road, hanging out with a ton of really cool people. I mean, like race week folks are awesome. So what kind of trouble did you guys get into, or did Dad keep you pretty close in his eyesight there?
Not really any trouble, really.
That's awesome. Any roadside repairs or anything? Like, did you get to help somebody?
We didn't really get to help anybody, and we didn't have any issues of our own, so we mostly just had a pretty good week.
That's awesome. So you just enjoyed the time and the weather. And well, I was watching some of the 1320 stuff, and it was like 109 a couple of those days.
Yeah.
He was wishing I put AC in that car when I built it.
That's awesome. All right, well, let's jump into some stuff here. I'll have to get my my questions opened back up. So we've gone over kind of all the early stuff. Eric, why don't you give us like your favorite all-time Rocky Mountain Race Week story?
Oh man, favorite all time. Well, 2019, first one, we ran 8s almost the whole week and finished. The end. That was awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the 2019. I've paid for it the last couple of years because 2019 was too like easy. I mean, and so like I'm paying my dues now because I didn't the first year.
Well, so what changed on the setup between 19 and 20? Because you were fast in 20, right? I mean, like,
yeah, I was. So in 20, in 2019, I was doing the 850 index class, that limited street, and I didn't have enough like setup for it. So I was non-intercooled on pump E85, and so you know you push the boost a little too much, and intake temps would get crazy. So I was smart. I played it safe. We ran 890, 870. I had traction problems at a couple tracks, and so that kind of took me out of the running some like 950s. But then finished at Pueblo with another 8-second pass, and you know we were super happy, and the boys were with us, and it was just a blast, and met so many cool people. And then that set up, then we mostly no prep race around here, and so then things got a little pushed. And so I was I pushed the limits of pump E65 non-intercooled and a temp sensor that was pegged at 300 degrees for most of the track, and started tearing up parts. So head gaskets, heads.
Nice.
Yeah. Then we switched to. So we had some of the people that followed along on my channel last year, we had a bunch of struggles in 1.0 just making it. And the reason for that is I switched to methanol and got smart with being non-intercooled, but then cracked the block like 3-4 weeks before Rocky Mountain.
Yep.
And pulled it all apart fast and wasn't thinking, and just pulled the injectors and didn't clean them out and spray them out. And so by the time we got it put back together, they were all sticking. And so,
Yep.
I know better. So.
That's crazy. All right. And then so over the winter time, you went completely ham, and now you're back to all-wheel drive.
Mm-hmm.
And I think on one of the 1320 videos, you were talking about the handful that it is to make a pass in it now.
Yeah, so we ran Rowdy Radial, which is the 8th mile class, and for the rear wheel drive guys, which the class is set up for, you have to be on a 26-inch tire, 26 by 8.5, so little guy, which those hook really well on a well prepped track. But I mean, it's 109 degrees, so you know so what Matt does is he has the all wheel drive. You have to be on a street radial, is how he described it. So. I cleared it to him to run Mickey Thompson ET Street SS. So it's a drag radial, but it's different construction and it's stiffer and it has full tread. And I did some no prep racing with that. Plenty of other issues. We won't bore everybody with all my broken motor stories, but oh man, like the torque steer is wild. It wasn't that fast yet, but as I was like trying to dial everything in, but it was so much fun. And I mean, I literally had to just manhandle the steering wheel to keep it somewhat straight.
Nice. Now, are you still Power Glide, or are you 400 or?
No, Power Glide. So I looked at a bunch of different options, and I thought I was going to fit a NP208 transfer case from a square body C10 under it, and measured everything, looked cool, and you could have 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, 4 high, all that, and was all excited about it until I actually put it underneath the car. I'm like, there's no way in hell this thing is big. So I was gonna have to cut a huge hole and probably lose the passenger seat and everything. And
you can't lose the passenger seat in a street car.
No. So another Rocky Mountain buddy, Zach, somebody I met at Rocky Mountain Race Week in 2019, I think. He, I was messaging with him, and he does dirt drag racing with a truck. And so he told me about this other transfer case, and it's called Racing in the Dirt, and it's just like a double chain. It's just locked. It's all 4-wheel drive all the time.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. And
the size of it is fantastic. And so my favorite tool, 5-pound sledge, and I can make room.
Yep. That's so with it being, so you're open front diff, you think you'll ever put like a limited slip in the front?
Now that I have some better tires on the front now. So it has some Mickey Thompson, ET Street R, so they're a bias ply up front, and with those and just kind of dialing everything in a little bit more, it's leaving nice and smooth and straight. And so with the open front diff, it allows me to it has a front axle disconnect, so it's a Chevy Colorado front diff, and I just have it on a switch where I can just most of the time it's off, and so I'm driving around with basically rear-wheel drive because it's an open front diff with one side disconnected. It's not doing anything at all.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay.
So what it allows me to do is a burnout then. So I can do a rear-wheel drive burnout. Then if I remember, I flip the switch and then I can launch in 4-wheel drive.
Nice. Now, so I guess if you're making, because a lot of the diesel guys, they launch in 4-wheel drive and then shift later down the track. I guess you probably wouldn't mess with that. You're just going to keep it in the all-wheel drive setup the whole way.
Yeah, just all-wheel drive the whole way, and it's working pretty well. Let's just say it's trapped as well in the 8th on a back of track node prep that I ever have on prep surface.
That's awesome.
Now it's not, there's so many faster things out there, but it's working well, and it shows me there's a lot of potential.
Yeah. So what's that car run in the 8th? Just so everybody knows.
I
Yeah, it runs well. No prep means no time a lot of times.
I'm like, Narcs, what are you trying to do here?
What? I'm just trying to give everybody, that it runs 560s,
Well,
580s.
they can go if they want to search around. There's a video out there of what it ran on Rocky Mountain.
Yeah, if somebody
on street tires.
Yeah, if somebody's that concerned, they already know what your setup is, anyways.
Yeah, pretty much everybody really knows what everybody else is running by.
Yep.
Everybody has draggies now, and so if you get beat by a car, you kind of know where you are. So
yeah, that's awesome. So, Micah, your setup in your 3000 being a 4G, is it front wheel drive, all wheel drive? What y'all set up in it?
All wheel drive.
Nice. Going back to some roots of that. So let me ask this then. Did you have all the parts and you're like, let's find a donor? Is that kind of how that all came about?
you tell us that. Do you even remember?
Well,
He's nervous.
That's okay. You're just talking to me. It's fine.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Well, no, there's folks out there. I'm not going to tell you how many, but there's folks. I'll tell you this: it's not a ton.
Hey, I'm giving you crap back now.
I hear you. So,
yeah,
let's.
We had an Eagle Talon that my oldest daughter drove for a while. So it was 2G Talon with so it was obviously 4G 63, all-wheel drive automatic. And that car was just like rotting out the whole chassis. So we ended up yanking that. And then a buddy of mine, the car that he has now kind of passed around a little bit. And it was a caged roller, but no motor, no trans, missing a lot of like the engine harness was yanked because it was going to be turned into a race car. And so we tried to pull it back a little bit to a little more street car. So it's just a stock 7-bolt 4G63 with a 16G turbo for now. As soon as he gets a little money and builds a motor, then he can get a nice FP turbo or something.
Yeah. Now, you do a ton of stuff with FP turbo, right?
Yeah. So it goes back to, I had on my 4G63 setup, I had a Super 99, an FP Super 99, which is like a 72 millimeter inducer turbo. And so I had that for a little while. And at one time, my car was the 5th quickest 3000 GT ever with that turbo. Now others have surpassed it. But
that's awesome.
Yeah, it was stock interior, full glass, stereo, and everybody quicker was gutted race cars. Well, actually, a lot of them slower were too. So
you're like, yeah, we drive street cars around here, stereo subs in the back. Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
So that it kind of goes back to that, and so then we used to go to the DSM Evo GTR shootout, and Force Performance sometimes was a sponsor of that, or Zona Rotor, and then one time when I actually met Robert Young, the owner, we had my car there, and it had just been LS swapped, and I had I met him at the gas station. He's like, "Wait a minute, that doesn't sound like a Mitsubishi." And so I met him there, and then at the track, he was kind of sought us out, seeing what we were doing, and I was having turbo problems, and I had a big I had a big turbo. It was like T6 with a T4 adapter deal that they do, and it was just it was like coming apart. The whole turbo was, and so. He's like, man, you need to get this junk off of there and get a real turbo. And he happened to it was like perfect timing. He was just coming out with like S400 based turbos with FP aerodynamics and all, their upgraded bearing stuff and blah, blah, blah. And so it was like perfect timing. And so he cut me a deal on one and got a little discount. I'm like, yeah, if it works, then whatever. And so then that's kind of where it started, and it's worked. It didn't fall apart.
Yeah, and then you have 2 on there now.
Yeah, so I was a little disappointed. I wasn't the first ones to get to use these, but they came out with some twins. They have set. Well, you could run them as a single. Actually, it would be great for just like a stock motor deal. It's a 72. I have twin 72s, T4 housing. They're not. I mean, the form factor is like what you would find in a lot of other like T4 turbos. So it's not real big. Fits actually. The twins actually fit just as easily or easier than the single. And yeah,
Yeah,
but
because what size single what was the last one you ran? It was big, right? Like it was an
yeah, the last
88.
one, last one I had was an 88.
That's
Interestingly enough, it ran the fastest it's ever trapped was with an 84 millimeter, but I changed so many different things and added weight in the back for no prep, and so it just kind of got pretty heavy.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, what's future plans for Micah's car then? Just going to keep turning it up like every 17-year-old should?
Future plans, possibly building up the motor, making it faster. Just going to see how it goes in the next couple of years financially and stuff for that.
Nice.
That's for the most part just that.
Yep. Now, is it? You said you pulled it, so it's auto from the GSX, right?
Yeah.
So, obviously, I know LS stuff because that's what I have done for a while. Like, I mean, are there converters and all that kind of stuff for those kind of trans? I mean, I would think so.
Yeah. So there's converter options out there. The popular ones are with the 2G style, the newer version, I think 93 or 94 when they came out, and they came with a lockup torque converter. The lockup doesn't hold any power, but they're like a little bit bigger, so there's room in the case to get a better converter. So there's some popular stuff out there, like Precision Industries makes one. His is 100% stock converter, and we have MS3 Pro ECU on it, and it controls the lockup, but then he controls the shifting with a forced 4, just a little push button shifting thing, which is pretty neat. It has a little LED screen on it to show what gear you're in.
That's awesome. I bet,
actually,
man. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say under full power. I just remember we have it set up to automatically shift through the ECU, so he can just keep his hands on the wheel, and it'll shift for him.
That's awesome. And I was going to say, like, buddies jump in and you're like, do the gears, or like there's a thing showing the gear you're in. I'm sure your friends are like, this is the coolest car ever, and it's got the sound and it's a turbo, and, then you cruise by and you're like, oh yeah, that's my dad's right there. And it's real fast. So that's pretty cool.
I think his might get more attention than mine because it's got a second gen conversion on it. So it's got the projector headlights. It's red with a carbon fiber hood. And, it really stands out with the black wheels. And I mean, we pieced it together with just, like I said, it was a car that was falling apart. The front mount intercooler was used from that. The fuel pump is from like probably close to 10 years ago that off of my car. Injectors were hand-me-downs from my car. They're Bosch 210 injectors that I had broken with, stuck with methanol, and sent them to get cleaned out.
How much too big is that injector for that setup right now?
Quite a bit too big.
Yeah.
It's good, especially on pump gas.
Yeah, I can only imagine. I mean, that injector is capable of what, like 800 on that motor or something like that, I would think.
You nailed it. Yeah. 800 on E85.
Yeah. So see, what that means is now you start doing those jobs, get that money, just keep turning it up till you max the injector. That's your first goal, max the injector. That's awesome. So, Motor Works Mafia says LS and a 3000 GT ? Probably freed up a bunch of room from the V6 setup in there.
Yeah, I mean, yes and no, but everything's all messed up in my car. So it's got motor plates now. It's got a 6-inch thick front mount intercooler or radiator in the back. You know, everything's turned around. Now, if you really want to save space, 4G63 in his car.
Yes. I would think, and like you've got a couple videos with that car on there. I mean, you cut the cage out of it or something, right? At one time,
Yeah,
or
that
a
was
couple bars or something.
we cut the front halo bars out, so it's still got like a 6-point roll
Like
bar
yeah.
in it. But with him driving it all the time,
Yeah.
Robert at Force Performance was like texting me, "Get that cage out of there before somebody gets hurt. Before don't even let him drive it until you cut it out." So
yep, yeah, bonk a head on that just because somebody else is an idiot and dings you. Yep.
Yeah,
no, I agree.
So, and then he's driving around his friends. He was taking his sister to school, and she's actually driven it recently.
Oh, that's awesome.
Now she wants one.
Even better.
Yeah,
you're going to single-handedly create a 3000 GT tax. Like everybody's going to want one now.
Well, we may mix it up for her. I'm kind of known for the motor swaps, but if we get one for her, I'm thinking we keep the V6 in it, and then we have a 4, 6, and 8.
Oh, hey, I like that. That's awesome. Way back when I sold cars, a long time ago, in the same month, we had 2 VR4 3000 GTs at the lot, and I sold both of them. It was a crazy month. I was like, oh my God, I'm the coolest dude in the planet.
They were awesome. I mean, back when they came out, yeah, I mean, there's nothing like them.
Yeah. That tells you how long ago it was. These were used with like 12 or 13,000 miles. So they were just a few years old. So that was a long time ago. Micah wasn't even around.
No, it is. Yeah, I mean, his car's a 92.
93, I think.
Yeah, so like 29 years old.
That's crazy. That is crazy. It doesn't seem like it should be that long. All right. So since you've had, because the boys have done, you had both boys on one trip, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, oh, that's right. Sorry. So let's talk meals. How do you feed these kids? Are you guys gas station food? Are you packing lunch? Are you only eating at restaurants? Do you stop at Walmart and fill the cooler? Like, how do you guys do it?
A little bit of everything. Mm-hmm. His mom takes care of us starting off. She packs us a cooler with, like nice turkey lunch meat and apple slices and all the good mom stuff. And then we usually kill that in a day.
I was going to say, and then day 2.
Yeah. Then it's McDonald's, gas station food, Monster Energy drinks.
Yeah.
Whatever. And then, well, what was your favorite food that you got bought all the time from you?
McDonald's. We got a lot of McDonald's this year.
Yeah. So, Moo on the Mac TV team, he was like food runner, and he would go get like, no joke, like 50 double or little, double burgers from McDonald's and McChickens. Yeah.
He's like, "What? Here's $50. I need 50 sandwiches. Let's go."
Exactly.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I just thought of a favorite story.
Okay, bring it.
Finally hit me. So this year, it was crazy. So I know on one of your lists, so I'm going to hit 2 of your questions at once here.
Okay.
So don't give me a little leeway here. We with hotels, we actually prefer just winging it, and no hotels booked. I recommend getting a hotel like the first and last day, but in between, like wing it. That way we can drive at night or whatever. This year was a little more challenging to get hotels, and we almost had to sleep in parking lot one night. Thankfully, the front desk attendant called around and found us a hotel. But one place, it was just a little inn motel thing, and we were leaving Denver, I believe. Yeah. And we were like heading out the mountains, and so we hit a place about like 50 minutes outside, and think, yeah, we'll just get on the road a little bit. So we go there, and he was super excited because he knew we were Rocky Mountain Race Week. He's like, oh my gosh, park up front. I'll make sure we watch the cars all night long. And he's like, he's super excited. He's been following it. We show up, we check in, and he goes into the back office and comes out and is like, "Hey, I have a surprise for you. I knew all the liquor stores would be closed by the time you got here." And so he bought us a case of beer.
What?
The hotel manager or the attendant at that, he went out on his own, bought a case of beer before we came because we knew we'd be getting in late.
That's awesome. Now, had you pre-booked that, or was it just a, hey, that place looks cool, let's pull in?
It was, that place has rooms. Let's go there.
Nice.
So we thought we were smart, and we were using like hotels.com app and searching, but that bit us because they apparently don't care if a hotel is sold out already, and they'll just keep booking rooms. And so we showed up one night thinking we had 3 hotel rooms for us and the Mac guys, and nothing.
Yep. So that happened to us one night. So we were headed to Great Bend 2.0 last year, and Stone Cipher had the axle bearing issue. And so me and Turbo Timmy jumped in the car and drove back. Well, when we got back to Great Bend almost, they had overbooked the hotel, so we didn't have a room. So it's like, what the heck do we do now? Yeah. So we jump on and start calling, and found one like an hour and a half away. So yep. So we've been burned by that too. We pull in at 4:00 in the morning at that dude's place and had to wake him up to come let us in.
Yeah.
Oh, it was bad. It was
there too.
Yep.
Yeah. This year the hotels were tough to get too. So we one night we all drove 2 hours longer than we intended to just to get to a hotel.
Yep.
So
I was talking to Adam the other day, and I was like, man, all these places should have like welcome road weekers, welcome RMRWers, like for gas stations. But I was thinking about those little hotels; they should do that too,
Yeah. I don't even remember the name of the hotel. I should have wrote it down and gave him. It was awesome. I couldn't believe like how accommodating he was, and it was a hole in the wall place. But man, when the service is like that, and so we were all tired and ready for bed. But if somebody's gonna give you beer, you're gonna drink a couple. So
you're like, okay, I'll have a beer with you, dude. So were there other race weekers there too?
I think we were the only ones, like our group. So
dang, that dude was like so excited. He was ready to have some folks show up, and luckily you guys found him.
Yeah, he was watching 1320 video, and whoever's then we rolled up, and I think he recognized Gap Train, the Silver S10. He's like, I'm watching this right now.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I'd like to talk to those guys about that truck at some point, because that thing is crazy.
Yeah, you should have them on. So they're a riot.
I can imagine
get your beep button ready.
Oh, no, we don't do that on the live feeds. Screw it. Well, hey, if there's no kids watching this anyways.
There you go.
That's awesome. All right. Let's see. So we talked about that. How much sleep do you think you get during race week?
What? I don't understand the question.
Like how much sleep? Like I think so. Every night I would go to the hotel and I would edit videos. So I was getting to bed at like 3, maybe if I was lucky. Is that kind of how it is for you guys too?
Yeah. So my wife edits our videos, and so she doesn't get any sleep either. So we, the small channel struggle, and so we're trying to beat everybody's content because that's like only chance. And so we text her. I'll copy Turbo John here. Love his channel, but he calls himself, an iPhone YouTuber, and it helps. So we would take all of our video on our phones and just text them to my wife throughout the day, and then she would stay up just ridiculous hours of it just so she could get them out right away. And then for us, I don't know if I ever get more than 4 hours in a night.
Jeez.
I don't get much anyway though, but 6 is preferred. But I don't think we've ever. Oh, I did pull an all-nighter before a couple of times. Not too often.
Dang, that's rough. That's rough.
I think I about broke my dad last year. It's so funny. So he went with me because for 2.0 the kids were in school, and so my father came with me, and we didn't even have any struggles. I mean, the only thing is we had some transmission. Well, I'll take that back. We had some transmission issues that we got through, but we really didn't have any like roadside repairs to do. So it was just drive, race. But I was driving at night, and we were limping the transmission, trying to keep it cool for a few days. And he's and there's a lot of the pictures that some of the photographers would post. He's on the ground sleeping at the track, and then a big like magazine did. I think it was like an insurance company, maybe it's like Haggerty or something, did an article. It's something like that, and there's of all the people that are going to be in the magazine article, it's my dad sleeping on the ground at the track again. So
nice. That's what he'll forever be known for. From now on, he'll always be the dude that was asleep.
Yeah. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it was a little rough to sleep in my car that year. That he did get a few naps while I was driving.
All right, so let's talk about 1.0 this year and some of your favorite stuff. How about your favorite day, both of you? Like favorite day of the week, like as far as like travel or what, you know what I mean? Like a day that just kind of came together.
Dang, you go first. I know what mine is.
Mountain drive.
Yeah, mountain drive.
That
The one leaving Vandermeer, and you go the wrong way to go back to Nebraska or whatever. That was awesome. And I mean, honestly, if Adam and June and Matt are listening, let's just do that every day, just back and forth. Just skip everything else.
Just driving like a big loop of beautifulness and race at Vandermeer every day.
We'll just race it. Exactly. We'll race at Vandermeer every day. We'll get a hotel room that week, and we just, make us drive 600 miles in the mountains. I don't care. Let's do it.
Yeah, that's, I'll tell you, I really wanted to do 1.0 this year bad because everybody talked about how gorgeous it is.
It was awesome. There was this, the first mountain. So, I mean, there's 2 mountain drives this year. The first mountain drive was neat, but the second one, just blew us away.
That's awesome. That
was in my truck.
Yeah, well, that means you got to like actually enjoy it. You were like AC on, cruising around. This is nice.
Yeah, I did have to. It did get a little cold in the truck. That was the only problem.
Micah's like, I hate you, man. That was hot. How about your? This is probably maybe a sore subject since you were in the truck and he wasn't making passes. But what was your favorite track of the trip?
Do you have one favorite track?
I mean, probably. I don't know.
So I like Great Bend because the people there are so good. And Jeff, who got to give a shout out to Jeff. Don't know his last name, but he's the fuel guy. So he's the guy there that provides race fuel, E85, methanol, whatever. And I'm pretty sure he does it for most weekends there. But in 1.0 last year, when I broke my car, me and buddy Adam Hodson changed head gaskets and heads in the parking lot there. And then Jeff brought us a piece of a radiator hose later that we exploded. And it was like, I don't know, 11 o'clock, midnight. He drives and gets us some stuff in the middle of the night that we were like an hour away from Great Bend already. But he gave me his card. He's like, hey, if you have any troubles on the road, once you get rolling, give me a call. And so everything was closed except I had his cell phone number.
Except for Jeff.
Yeah, so I mean, so the track is cool too. They redid it this year, but I like how the pit layout is. If you can get like a close parking spot, it's really neat. So that's one of my favorite, just because of we have stories there.
Yeah, that's cool. How about your favorite car of the trip, or maybe two or three of them, like someone else's car?
Yeah, so I like Micah's car. Uh, 4gswap.com if you wanna get swap mounts for your 3000 PT.
Yes, yes,
Uh,
please.
yeah, so I like Boo's Mustang. That I don't know what color. It's a Porsche color, blue, bright blue.
Miami blue, which is perfectly fitting for Boo.
Yeah, he thinks he's Miami, huh? Yeah.
He lives around the corner from a good friend of mine, and so I was driving by the other day, and I was like, "Hey, man, you got 2 minutes to talk?" We pull up. He's got beer in a soda machine in the garage, so we talked for more than 2 minutes. So it was
awesome.
a good time. Yeah, yeah, he's a good dude. But yeah, that car is awesome. That new color is so nice.
I mean, I liked this car the year before, in black, but that blue, it's a different car. I mean, it looks good on photos. It looks good going down the track. It's fast too. So, yeah, it's really cool. So I like that. Jamie Langford's from PFI Speed, his, ratted out Acura. I like that because that guy worked so hard with one of the previous years. I mean, they had like I can't even remember. I think they had like a rear main like bad, and I mean they were literally buying every oil bottle they could between gas stations and just dumping oil in it, and had oil leak the whole way. So it's cool to see him and just do well. So so it's a 4-cylinder front wheel drive in the stick shift class, and I think he got second place.
Nice.
So that was cool to see something different. So those are the two that pop out right now. I mean, there's so many neat cars though that are there. It's like it's hard, especially when you're like watching your friends, and it's hard to even go see all of them. But
yeah,
those are good. There was a rotary on the too. Yeah, you like that one?
That was cool.
Yeah, that was like a convertible RX-7 or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That
yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
That's awesome.
I mean, seeing the chilling with Chet, the Viper.
Oh yeah,
that was cool. It did blue with orange accents all over it.
Nice. That's a cool car. I don't know if I've seen any photos of that thing. I haven't been through all the photos that all the photographers put up yet. I just can't do it. I'm like, oh, I want to go so bad.
I don't know that it raced.
I don't think it did.
I think it did road week. But yeah, it was we saw it at the gas station one time when Garrett, Cletus McFarland was filling up, and they were riding around that with them. So yeah, it was really nice Viper. That doesn't count.
It's it's an American exotic. It's something that's not normally there. I do want to give a shout out to Dirty Panda. He just sent $20. Want to say thanks. He says he absolutely loves the 3000, and now with a more reliable power plant. So
what, the 4G63?
Probably, yeah. I was going to say probably both at that point, but I don't know about reliability if you're putting two big turbos on a LS.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about any gas stations or restaurants that were your favorite.
You had one. I have the sticker in the truck, but the truck's not here.
Something about the whole restaurant's theme was like parts, like car parts and stuff. So like they had like a bunch of like decorations like it. It was like a brewery and bar, and like they had dinner and stuff. So we all stopped and ate there because it started to rain and we couldn't drive through it. So we stopped and ate there, and that place was really cool.
Yeah. What city was that in? Which one was that?
One of those.
Somewhere close to the mountains.
Yeah, it was no, it was on our way. Was it on our way to?
I think it was Nebraska.
Yeah, I think it was in Nebraska.
That's
so. If
awesome.
you just follow that whole trip and then just follow everybody's route and look for a place with like beers and beers or something like that.
That sounds like the perfect name.
Yeah, I think he also liked it though because he was hanging out with those Mid-American Customs guys down on one end of the bar, learning a little too much about life, I think.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome. So, sometimes it's good to be in a situation where you're maybe a little over your head.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, but I mean, I think you're probably seeing a theme. Some of our favorite things all revolve around the people. So, and that's what kind of Rocky Mountain's about. So.
Yeah. And what's crazy is like, you see all, like even the videos we took, like you still don't get any of the, I don't know, family aspect of that whole trip, where you're, I don't know, you're kind of from a small town, Midwest town, right? So like we cruised in high school. There's a street that we cruised up and down. I feel like race week is that, like, but it's 1,000 miles of that,
Yeah, absolutely.
And now we're adults and don't ever get to do it. Now it's like getting to go back to that. So.
Yeah, I mean, we everyone jumps on the interstate and just bypasses all of these towns, and we have some pictures we took when we were stopped. Gap train had an oil leak, and we just stopped and were chilling, and it was just this old gas station and repair shop that had been closed down. Looked awesome. There was like a cafe next to it, of course, also closed down, but these places 30, 40, 50 years ago would have been hopping.
Yeah.
And so this just because we don't take the interstates and really even much highways, we're taking the byways and having a lot of fun going through these little towns. It just really forces you to appreciate all of these little towns that are still surviving somehow. So yeah, it's
And what's funny is like I went into it like we were full on content creation the whole week, and by day 4 I was like, day 4 was our longest day. We were up 22 hours and it was the least amount of footage that I took. I mean, I think it's just because it took that amount of time for me to get wound down and enjoying it,
Yeah, it can wear on you.
Oh yeah. It was a ton of fun though. Somebody said the other day, you need a vacation from that vacation.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's the one, it's tough for me to get away from work. But that week, it's like, you need another whole week to recuperate. And really, based on my track record, I need like a week before to actually get my car ready too. So
yeah, we just need to be famous YouTubers. That's what we need.
Yeah. I need somebody to work on my car for me.
Yes, that's really what needs to happen for me, especially. So, we've added the turbo now and we've got a little bit of nitrous. So hopefully we'll be able to do some big burnouts. So.
You like to party.
Well, so the struggle is that stupid car, I've got to put a converter in it. So, you first gear, as soon as you shift a second, it just lugs so hard that it just almost comes out of it. Yeah. Well, so that's a plan. We're going to put a bigger spring in, and then I'm just going to like spray it through first and second gear, and hopefully it keeps the RPMs up.
Yeah, that sounds like a perfect plan.
Yes. We're going to scatter everything everywhere. I've been needing a reason to LS it anyways. So, the turbo's already mounted.
I had nitrous in my car because I had it from the 4G63 days, because converter selection, it's tough when you got a little motor. You're going to need spray to get it over the hump on it to launch. So I had it in my car, and I just kept it in with the original LS because I was not intercooled. I'm like, I'll just spray, a little bit for the extra power. It's addictive. So
Yeah.
I took it.
Cooling effect.
Yeah. Yeah, it went from a 30 shot to 50 to 75. Eventually, I had no jet in it. It was just whatever the solenoid would run. And
nice.
May have contributed to the cracked block before Rocky Mountain last year.
Yeah. Well, hey, you got to find the limits. So what you do is you put the next biggest jet you got in there. That's how you fix that next time.
Yeah. It's out of my car now, so I'm not tempted. But now I have a Fuel Tech ECU in my car, and I have a scramble button wired up, and I'm not responsible enough, because I'm like, I was at the no prep and I was out on everybody usually, and I'm like still pulling the scramble. There was no reason. Every pass, scramble.
Yep. That's just the new tune.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Problem is, if I put that into the new tune, then I'm still going to pull a scramble anyway. So
yeah. That's awesome.
No,
all right. Let's move into some roadside type stuff. What is your go-to road food?
Do you have a go-to road food?
Are you all right, listen, chicken tenders everywhere we go? Or is it I'm getting a cheeseburger everywhere we go?
So when I'm actually racing, and it's so blasted hot, I don't eat much. And so last year I lost 10 pounds in 1 week, that race, the one race week. So I'm I Gatorade and water, and then something at night. If things are going a little better, or it's not 106 degrees and 130 in the car, then I'm a pretty simple. I like a double Whopper from Burger King.
Nice. What about you,
Micah?
Just a lot of cheeseburgers throughout the week. Track cheeseburgers, McDonald's.
Whatever. He's like, I don't care. Give me some meat. Put it on some bread. Let's go. I got stuff to do.
If we get a little time, it's nice to, we try to each year have one place to sit. And so our first year, we had some time in the morning before the last day. And so I like coffee. And so we found a local coffee shop in Pueblo, and we had a nice breakfast and chilled. And it was just kind of cool to just me and my boys to chill and kind of take in the week and a little bit away from the chaos, and then went and finished the rest of it. And then one year we did pizza with the group. We had a little time and sat and ate some pizza. And then this year was that barbecue bar grill place or whatever. So
nice. Beers and gears. That's what.
Yeah, that's what we're going with.
Yeah, beers and gears. I'm sure that's what it was. Well, you were talking about pizza. How about favorite pizza toppings?
I like it all.
All on one pizza? Or you
yes.
I'll eat that pizza. I'll eat that pizza. Yep, bring it on.
No, just put everything on. I don't do anchovies, but who really buys? Can you even order anchovies on a pizza anymore?
I don't know. I hope not.
Yeah. But yeah, loaded with everything. All the meat, all the cheese, peppers, mushrooms.
That's awesome.
I'm simple. Just pepperoni. If not that, then just cheese.
Nice. You'll grow out of that later. You'll need more spice in your life. I was telling Adam, I was like, man, I'm a Supreme guy, but it took me till I was about 25 to get to where I would eat one. And I'm like, why have I been waiting on this?
Yeah, it's a full meal. You get your veggies, you get your dairy products and meat,
It's good for you.
If you like pineapple, you put the pineapple on, and then you got your fruit. I mean, it's everything.
Yeah.
I mean, totally healthy.
That's awesome. All right, let's see what else. How about last question I really have here is ice cream flavor, and then we go to some free will and stuff here.
Free willing.
Yeah.
Kind of like free balling, I guess. Or
Well, that's what I was going to say, but we can't see from here down, so we don't know what's going on over here.
Ice cream. Change the subject fast.
Yeah.
Cookies and cream.
Cookies and cream.
Mm.
Usually just basically anybody else's ice cream. They don't like they hide the ice cream in the house because I'll eat it all. Doesn't matter what size it is.
Yeah, you're like, let me try that one. Let me try. See, if you eat everybody else's, that means you didn't have to get one. You're like, I didn't even get ice cream tonight.
Exactly.
Ate everybody else's. That's awesome.
Calories, they don't even count then when there's somebody else's.
Yeah, it's not your calories. It was their calories.
Yeah.
So let's talk. I want to talk stages of the car because we kind of went over that a little bit, but your car is so wild to most everybody, and like it's fast too. It's not like just doing an LS swap and something. Like it's an LS and power glide and now all-wheel drive and fast. I mean, how lead us through the stages and then lead us through the like thought process of just keep progressing.
So I just like to keep my hands busy, I guess, on the weekends, and gives me something to do. And I'm always like thinking of, oh, well, would it be cool if I did this or whatever? So, we'll skip a bunch of like the old, and so it started life as a twin turbo. It's had different upgrades there, some motors that work, some issues with machine shops where stuff didn't work. I did, probably sloppy before sloppy existed with a stock 3.5 liter, which they didn't come with, and figured out where those rods exited the block right around 500 torque, just in case anybody's wondering. And then did an all-wheel drive auto swap, which they didn't come all-wheel drive. They came all-wheel drive, but not automatic all-wheel drive. But you could get a transmission from overseas, Europe, anywhere, basically. And did that. And that was a lot of fun. And that was the time when I had a balancing issue on the crank from a machine shop and took that motor out. But I got a taste for some RPM and all-wheel drive auto shifts. So then it went to 4G63, which hadn't been done before. But buddy of mine, Don, who kind of got to give him a lot of credit, actually. So he has KAK Performance, KAK Performance. Met him down in Arizona, became friends. And I had confidence to do stupid stuff with my car and the motor because I knew he could always fix it because he actually knew what he was doing. And builds motors and whatever. So if I got in too deep in a motor or transmission or whatever, I knew he could bail me out and just, here, take it. Here's my money, fix it. So it gave me a lot of confidence to dig in. So he did 4G63s because he always had DSMs. And so decided, you know what, I'm going to make it. So I do that, right? It's more RPM, more boost, more better. And so then that evolved. Then we talked about the LS swap. So it started with just the typical do a stock bottom end 5.3 and throw a boost at it. Yeah. It was never intended to be like a race car. And now, I mean, it's, 80% race, 20% street. And it does drive on this street still.
0% jack stands, bud.
Yeah. We got to go over 100%, then 100% jack stands too. So the normal stock bottom end 5.3, some springs, some boost, the turbo that didn't work out, and then better turbo. Then I put a stroker in the 5.3, which wasn't real common. But K1 had like a Black Friday deal that I was like, oh, like I could not buy it, basically.
Well,
And,
I mean,
yeah, I mean,
if it's that kind of deal, then
yeah, I mean, basically they were paying me to put forged internals into it.
I mean, I like the way I can see that being the dinner table sales pitch.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost like they're paying me to do it.
Yeah, exactly. And so that happens, and then like I said, that's actually been the staple motor. That's so the motor that was in the car right now. It's still that same K1 stroker. That's what did the first Rocky Mountain race week that I did in 2019. And so it's still that same rotating assembly, just a different block. And then we torched that block a couple of times now too. And it's an iron block, but it's seen better days. And the intention for this year was to go really fast and be more reliable. And I intended to get something nice. So we kind of budgeted for it. I had to sell a kid or two, so why it's only Micah here. And but then you couldn't get one. We wanted to do the thing, 427, LSX or dart block or something like that, 6-bolt heads, do it right, make 1,500 horsepower without having to worry about head gaskets or the bottom end or anything like that. But it's just been, I didn't know the lead times were going to be what they were.
Yeah.
So that's where we're sitting now. And then I had some issues coming into Rocky Mountain this year, 1.0, that I was chasing down. Thought the motor had finally eaten too many spark plugs, and had given up because I had a dead cylinder, and I was out of time. I couldn't get the fancy block that I wanted, and found a long block locally that was built, on not ran, put together. Guy sold this car, thought it was going to be good, and yeah,
went a different direction.
yeah. Honestly, I don't think it was his fault. Somebody built it for him, and I think he got sold something that's he was told something that it was and it wasn't. So the parts in it are good, but the surface finish, I don't know why, like a T-Rex would kind of go in and just kind of grab and claw across every head and every block surface. But that's not a good way to hold a MLS gasket. And I do realize why it was probably had a can of copper spray on each head gasket though.
Yeah.
So
they're like, please seal up. Please.
Yeah. So it wasn't ran until I got it, and then it made about 4 passes and shot the head gasket out the side of the block, torched the block head. That was the second pass at Rocky Mountain.
Dang, that's brutal. So
yeah,
are you on the wait list for the big block, like the big boy 427 block, or?
So so it's a good rotating assembly. It's 416, stroked LS3 thing. And so I was trying to was on with Jegs and Summit today, trying to find a dart block. But yeah, they don't exist.
Nobody. Dang.
But I can weld this block, and then there's a machine shop that can actually surface it properly. So I'll get the block welded, heads welded, and maybe getting some nicer heads coming as well. So
nice.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So what's your end goal for the car? Like, I guess there's like moving through what you've got. I mean, just keep winning races.
Yeah. I mean, so I did have like a couple of goals for this year. I hit one of them, which was a certain ET on really dirty no prep. So that happened. Now there's a new ET goal. and there's a mile-an-hour goal that I haven't hit yet. And the reason those goals exist is because if I can hit that AT and that mile an hour, then I win races, which was the main goal for this year, was to win races. So we've taken some setbacks, but the four-wheel drive system is working. And so that's a major hurdle. It's, pretty scary to have a bunch of spinning parts underneath the car.
Especially new in the front, like all, I know that car came, but now those cars in an all-wheel drive setup are primarily front-wheel drive and then it transfers it back, right? Yeah. So
I had to redo the whole car basically, right? So because the motor's turned, the wrong way. So turn the motor the right way, put a real transmission in it. It's got a 4.9-inch in the rear. And because I was going to try to use the stock rear and stuff, and I think the stock rear end would hold quite a bit, but I was snapping axles like twigs just on a shift on the street. And then one day, I bring extra axles with me when I went driving around, and I got good at changing them in like on the side of the road. And they don't make those anymore, so I was using up like OEM axles, just gone.
So you felt bad?
A little. I had quite a collection though, and then it broke a hub. So it broke the hub. I'm like, okay, so even if I get good axles, I have to redesign a hub. I'm like, no. So straight axle. And it's actually, it's just, kind of the way the car has been. And so it's a stock width from a 1978 Ford Thunderbird. And it still has the stock Ford 370 gears that were with it. I put a limited slip. Well, I had somebody help, put a limited slip differential in it just for all the street driving and everything. And then some 31 spline axles and some Ford Explorer disc brakes. So it's as basic as.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And then now with the extra, I would think the pull from the front, it probably takes off some of the stress from the back. So now any wheelies since the all-wheel drive setup?
No, it had some nice wheelies back in the rear-wheel drive setup. Check out our channel, you'll see. And with the four-wheel drive, I'm pretty sure I could make it wheelie if I wanted to. But the suspension is set up to basically keep the front end down, allow some movement, keep the tires still in contact with the ground. But yeah, I want to try to keep everything down on the front.
That's awesome. So being all-wheel drive now, are you put in big tire class stuff?
So it depends. We did a wheel-wheel drive versus all-wheel drive small tire at Muncie called the Big End Banger, and it's normally rear-wheel drive only. And they did an all-wheel drive one. Yeah, we're not allowed back. We all went pretty fast, and a GTR won it, and he was pretty quick. Really though, it was in the finals. It was rear-wheel drive and all-wheel drive in the final, the way it should have been. And so, and that guy had it figured out. His car was going quick and rear-wheel drive. So, I think we have an advantage first round for sure, because we can ham fist the tune up a little bit more and have an advantage first round. After that, depending upon the surface, then I think it evens out a lot more. Yeah. And then on a stickier one, if this is back a track, on the front of the track, rear-wheel drive all the way, even if it's no prep, they're going to be faster.
Wow. So, is it just because you can't leave with as much because of the all-wheel drive? Or I would think that the all-wheel drive setup would be way faster out of the gate.
On dirt road, yeah. I think, well, it depends. Like about like 30 feet out, we don't if when you weight transfer, it's taking away your any kind of advantage on traction. So there's a balance of doing it. The diesel guys just there's some really fast diesel guys, and they just hit it with a hammer. I mean, just as hard as they can go and just light up 4 slicks and let it eat. I'm trying to do a little more finesse with it because, one, I don't want to break things. 2, I think it'll work better for my car to do it. And so what I'm doing is leaving a little softer, actually probably a little too soft, but then I can ramp in the power hard. And that's where the rear-wheel drive cars, we got to smoothly power in. And right now it looks like I can power it in pretty hard. If I try to leave too hard, then I'm fighting it and I got to let off the gas, and you don't go fast then.
Yep.
So,
yeah. If you're lifting, you're not. And the other side of it, like if you're fighting it, your brain is fighting here. It may not be 100% throttle, maybe
it's
80%.
Not. Yeah, I've checked the logs. The log doesn't lie. Because even one time I'm like, oh, I stayed in it this time. I'm saying just stay in it. It's not going to go anywhere. It'll eventually straighten out. And yeah, my foot said otherwise. The log said otherwise. So
That's awesome.
I was convinced I was in it the whole time. 60% throttle.
Man, that's wild. Like our brains can only do so much, and turning 1,000 horsepower loose on, a twisty steering wheel I can't imagine being any fun. So, that's awesome.
It is actually a lot of fun. That's the weird part. I'm like, I was having so much fun. And we have the first time I took it out, I drove it an hour and a half to Salem, Indiana. They have an airport, like a decommissioned airstrip there, and they have some no prep racing there. And I was in Big Tire there. So that's where I'll mostly be. You're right, Big Tire. But and it was like I was on the street tires, and it was fighting me all over the place, and I had a blast. I didn't even care I was really mad, not because I lost, but because I had boost safeties set up, and it shut my car off because I hit some boost safeties. So I just kept shutting my car off, and I was so mad.
That's crazy. So let's talk DSM for a minute, because I think that's how many of those setups have you built across the years?
In my car?
No, like just total. Like did you have any, second gen Eclipses or any of the Evo stuff?
Yeah, no, I've only had just my daughter's Talon that we had gotten, and then I've had 2 3000 GTs, and then his is the third. So I had one in college, and then we got married and started having these rats. And I sold my first 3000, and then eventually got the next one. But then, other, import cars. I had an MR2 in high school. It was non-turbo, automatic, but it was a lot of fun. And I'm not sure how I survived that one, because snap oversteer is real.
Yes. Yeah, that car will do this.
Do not ever lift. Oh yeah, so bad. So that was probably a silly car to buy at like 18. It made no power, thankfully. But because I'm midlife crisis and living all my high school fantasies, I bought, you can't see it, but there's a 91 MR2 behind us.
Yes.
And it's a roller, no motor, no trans, and it's going to get a 4G63 auto in it at some point.
That's what's up. Anthony, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. What's Anthony say?
Anthony said, make sure to get his son to 2-step for you.
Not this one, the other one. He's into playing video games.
Oh, gotcha. That's awesome. So 4G in the MR2, that'll be a cool setup. Yeah,
that one. That I originally bought it to turn into a small tire race car, because it's kind of a cheat code with all of the weight in the back already. without having to add weight. And then a 4G63 can make a lot of power. And so I was going to just kind of detune my car and make it just like a no prep index car, maybe for my wife or something. We'll say a 750 index car.
There you go.
You know, I'd probably have to turn it up a little bit. But so turn it into that, and then turn the MR2 into an actual small tire race car for me, and that's what I bought it for. But then I added up what the parts list was going to be to actually do what I needed it to do. I'm like, oh crap! It's
you don't ever add up the parts list, man. Don't ever add up the parts list.
I start with a budget, and it usually makes me feel better. And this time it made me feel worse. And you do a budget, and then when you go over it, you don't keep track of all that. You keep track of your original budget. And you're like, yeah, I did this all for $5,000.
Yeah, it's perfect.
But this didn't look as good as I thought it was going to, and so I'm like, So if I put that kind of money into my 3,000, which already had fuel and a good trans and all that kind of stuff, I'm like, it's going to be even faster. So we're kind of splitting the difference, putting a little into my car, and then turn the MR2 into a really stupid street car. It's T-tops, full interior, looks nice. The paint is crap. Suspension's not even there, I don't think. But it's not rusty, so the body's good. So it needs a motor, it needs paint, and some force performance turbo.
There you go. Yeah, probably one, right?
Yeah.
Or a compound. You can do a compound setup. That'd be even more fun.
I've thought about it, but I'm trying to simplify my life, and my 3,000, it's the 4-wheel drive is done. It works. I have twin turbos that are done. It works. I have an LS. I say that, but if Rob Don happens to be watching and you want to sponsor me a 4-rotor, I'll put it in. And then I'll challenge him to a race with his 4-rotor all-wheel drive. Just saying.
Yes. We need him in here. We need him to make that announcement. I'll be watching the comments.
Yeah, I'm sure he's watching. I'll tag you. I'll text him.
There you go. Yeah, hit him up. That's awesome. Well, cool. All right. Well, I've got to get back out here. I've got to open the rear diff back up and add some weld to the spider gears.
Oh, I saw your post.
Yeah, man. Everybody in there was just like, they're like, you need to do this. I'm like, oh, usually I'll tell everybody to, but I'm like, you know what? It broke both plates, and she wasn't even driving it hard. So I was like, all right, fine. I'll weld the gears to the housing.
No, the best comment in there, I don't remember who it was, but the best one is your wife should weld it.
Yes. Yeah. She wouldn't even slide under it to look at it. I went to hand her the 2 chunks of steel that was in there, and she was like, I'm not touching that. That's gross and stinks.
Yeah.
I was like, but you did this.
Clearly, she must be a better driver than you too, and really beats on it. Dude,
what's crazy is that rear literally has 1,500 miles on it, and I literally will just anywhere, rolling burnouts from a stop, tight parking lots from work, all that kind of stuff. She drives it one time and kills it. It's like, great. But I'll send you a picture when I get back out there. One of the pieces, I mean, it's like 1/8 inch stuff probably, or it's probably thicker. It's probably 3/16 stuff. It literally shows like the ring gear and the pinion like cut almost all the way through it. It's pretty impressive. So
you're just gonna weld it up again?
Yeah. I have an 8.8 in the corner. I just don't have the time to put it all to make the swap and weld purchase and buy the wheel adapters and all that kind of stuff to make everything fit. With 8
Yep.
weeks before race week, and I've got to build the trailer. I've got to, put the big spring in the cart, get the nitrous set up better. Right now it sprays in front of the turbo. I need it to spray in the turbo, all that.
Yeah. If I can make a recommendation, test your trailer before, get as big of wheels and bearings as you can get, and then you'll be good.
Yep, that's my plan. That's kind of the situation I'm in. I'm like, I'm going to run out of time if I keep screwing around with all this other stuff. So,
yeah.
Yep. So, I'm going to get to work on that. Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it. And if everybody hasn't already done it that's watched, make sure to go subscribe to their channel and watch a bunch of videos. Don't just subscribe. Ring the bell. Watch like 10 videos tonight while you're out in the shop yourself. So.
Man,
All right.
maybe if we promoted us like he does, maybe we'd actually have some more subscribers. Hey, we're
Dude,
almost to 2,000. So we're like 35 away from 2,000 subscribers. So come on, people.
Right? Get on it. There's 7 people watching right now, and surely 4 of those will go over there and subscribe right now.
Exactly.
Now. Yeah, Tim Webb on he says that dude's almost at 2,000 subscribers. So, yep.
There we go.
Well, hey,
thank you.
Thanks, y'all. I appreciate it.
Narks, see ya. Good luck.
See you guys. Hey, thanks, man. I'm gonna